racing action. A 40-minute race set to have a whole lot of stuff to worry about if you are these racers. Have to worry about the pit stop. Inside your screen, switched his attention to the massive pack of race cars that's going to blow his doors off and blow off the starter stand. The green flag is out, the drivers are on their way. Locked at this race, the grass and the gravel that lines this racetrack. It's old school, so it doesn't have a whole lot of asphalt runoff area. He's a very talented racer of his own. These two fast. He crashed very early on into this race. Look at Daniel Wood on a big crash heading through turn number 1. That's chasing that turn number 4. And here we go, side-by-side racing off into the corner. This can usually end in tears. One of these drivers is going to have to back out of it. That's going to be Andala. But Maunz still allowing some room coming out of the corner. The side-by-side going up the hill through turn number 6. Spade coming out of the corner. Walker the Canadian in the number 96. They are banging doors, heading into the braking zone for the final time. They're linked together. Better you put a qualifying fuel load in either way. Getting a whole lot of pressure side by side with himself, and that is.
He's now coming out of the pits. Let's see what his pit lane time is, because this is going to be very important when Yanchi leads.
I don't know what to say. Oh, there's Red Capricorn upside down. And another driver coming in. That's Jeff Jacobson upside down. Oh, boy. Well, hello and good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back here to Slow Motion Broadcasting, and welcome back to the Spec Racer Ford Weekend Warriors. This is round number 11 of this season, coming to you today from Silverstone. My name is Ron Maunz. Alongside me in the commentary booth is Charles Boshell. Guido Marzucchi is our producer for today's broadcast. Well, Charles, we're in crunch time here with the Spec Racer Fords running at the national layout of Silverstone. Now, there's been a lot of talk leading up to this broadcast about how this is basically as close as you can get to an oval if you ever tried it. Lots of long flat outlasts around this racetrack, really not a lot of turns. So talk about a draft fest. Holy cow, this is going to be probably the draft heaviest race that we've had all season long.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Ron. It's, it's Silverstone, so obviously it's a very great track, fantastic race course. Obviously the national circuit's about half of it. Very quick laps. You see in minute 3 for your lap times. But yeah, it's flat. It's pretty straight. There's a couple of corners, and only one real big braking zone to deal with. So yeah, it's going to be a very interesting race. Lots of drafting. If you've been with us for a while and you've ever seen us run at places like Daytona and Homestead, you're going to get something very similar to that, because it's just going to be a big draft pack with cars making moves here and there. So at least that's what we're hoping. We're hoping for no big incidents, and we're hoping for a really good race.
It's going to be a draft train for sure, and compared to last week at the Phoenix Road Course, which it being a roval, you kind of expect a lot of drafting. I think we're going to see even more of it here today, and that could be part of the reason why this qualifying order is really shuffled up. You've got Spec 1 drivers mixed in with Spec 2, who are mixed in with Masters as well. A returning name here to the Weekend Warriors, a driver who we haven't seen in a little bit of time. Christian Kabanka is your current provisional pole sitter. SMB Pal, Mr. Joshua Wilkie just jumped up into second. Eric Luke is your provisional pole sitter in Spec 2, and Tom Bradwell slotted in 6th as your top qualifying Masters driver at the present moment. But as we set ourselves up for this second to last round of this championship, let's take a look at the championship point situations heading into the final two races of this season. Starting off with Spec 1, where it has definitely tightened up. Maurizio Nazelli, off the back of 2 straight wins in this series, has closed that gap to himself and Jason Green. Jason was involved in that championship battle last season with himself and Felix Samoes, and it looks like he's going to be involved in another squeaker here today. Whoever comes out on top here today is going to have a good hand heading into the next round of this season at Alscher-Slaben in 1 week's time, but I am sure that Jason Green wants to be able to hold on to that championship points lead for as long as he can. 27 points is a gap between those two racers. Flavio and Dallo slotted in third. Andre Favini and Joachim Osbeck around at your top 5 in the Spec 1 points, rather broken up towards the north end there. As we take a look now at Spec 2, where Eric Luke has been rather dominant up to this point. 694 points is his tally at the present moment. That would slot him, what, P2, P3 in Spec 1. So Eric Luke has been an incredible driver to follow up to this point in the season. Really has a strong, firm grip on that Spec 2 class. Big gap between himself and Matt Thompson. Those two were battling for the championship not terribly long ago, but it looks like it will be Luke's for the taking. Paul Jackson is slotted in third at 481 points. Then you don't have to go too terribly far back from that to find Paolo Breme, the Italian, in P4, and Andrew Love running at the top 5 in Spec 2. As we head on off to Masters, it has been a real close championship battle. Jeff Fritcher and Tom Gradwell covered by 7 points with only 2 races left to go from this season. They've taken the lion's share of wins. They've been quick, and it looks like it's going to be a winner-take-all in the final 2 races of this season. Brad Cathcart slotted in third, Kurt Nunes in fourth, Adam Bradshaw runs at the top 5 in Masters. But man, Charles, that fight between Fritcher and Gradwell, you can get closer, but I don't think these drivers could get closer if they tried.
No, absolutely not. That is a tight battle, only 7 points separating with 2 races left to go. And you can see we're on board here with Tom Gradwell now. He's currently running 8th, leading the Masters class in qualifying. Fritcher's only looks like just behind him in 11th, and if I'm reading this right, there's not much in it between the two. 400th of a second, I think, for their fastest laps. So shaping up to be, if I just look down, the top 19 separated by less than a second. So this is going to show you how this race is going to go today. It's going to be tight all the way up and down the field. So all these battles for points are going to wind up being very, very tight. Obviously, with that two horse battle in Spec 1 as well.
And as we're still in qualifying, let's do an onboard lap with your current provisional pole sitter of Christian Kabanka, heading his way down the start-finish straightaway off into turn number 1. The legendary Cops Corner around this racetrack. Super tough to try and manage in these low downforce, low mechanical grip Spec Racer Fords. That pit exit going to be super sketchy for drivers still on the racetrack and the ones trying to rejoin it. Now, heading our way off into Maggots. They don't have Maggots and Beckett's. We had to slash one of them off to make this national layout. As you can see, a big sideways snap from Kabanka through 2 and 3. Now going on to this backstretch, the Wellington Straight here at Silverstone. Another long flat-out blast for these cars and going to be a huge draft opportunity down into turn number 4. Deep on the brakes, braking at that 50 marker. As you try and get it rolled up, you can see Kabanka sawing at the wheel. It is not a smooth ride here at Silverstone. This track may be grade 1 certified, but these drivers are going to be sawing at the wheel from start to finish in this race. And then coming out the second to last corner of this track, that's Luffield turn number 5 through Woodcut of 6. We saw this track get used for the Formula Fords a couple of weeks ago and put on a killer race there. Here in the SRFs, on the other hand, I think we've got a fantastic race on our hands today.
Yeah, that Formula Ford race was fantastic, and with the drafting ability of these cars, it just multiplied over the Formula Fords. These cars are just going to stick together, and as you can see, it is showing on the timing tower. It's going to be fun to watch, and it's just going to be a battle of. I've seen races here with, with Porsche Cups. They run this circuit in the Carrera Cup series as well. And basically, if you make a mistake, you just lose everything. So, you're going to have to be very precise. You saw Kabanka working hard to get the car around the track, and it's going to be like that for 40 minutes.
Yeah, and Silverstone, an absolutely iconic track, and not just the world of British motorsports, but just world, global motorsports altogether. This track, all the way back in 1950, hosted the very first Formula One Grand Prix. No, not the first British Grand Prix, the very first F1 race ever. So this track has a lot of history baked into it. And here's an odd shout to iRacing. Here would be an interesting track to see added into the sim, the Stowe Circuit on the infield of the international circuit, which uses the modern day Grand Prix pits and the final sector of the usual Grand Prix track. That would be an interesting layout to see added into the sim. Project Cars 2 had that. I remember running around that circuit religiously back in the day. So I'm not sure, Charles, have you ever gotten the opportunity to run around the Stowe circuit here at Silverstone? It's an intriguing one, to say the very least.
I mean, I drove Project Cars 2, but I don't necessarily remember that one. But you know, I've driven so many different. I've even driven the old configuration, the 2008 configuration at iRacing, which is a completely different animal with corners that, you know, the first time you go there, it's like, wait, where am I? And so so we see the 730 car there, a little deep. Wondering, we heard from Ian Joyner at the end of the Formula Ford race when they did the race at Thruxton just a little while ago. He said that basically the biggest problem with those cars was just trying to keep the tires cool. You were kind of really pushing the mechanical grips to the limit, and the tires would just overheat. And then all of a sudden, the next thing you know, you didn't have any grip going into a corner. I wonder if these cars are suffering from that same thing now. Seeing a lot of drivers struggling, just trying to keep the car maxed out in the corner, and it seems like that there's some issues that are going to be popping up during the course of this race.
And, you know, thinking of the weather conditions that we've got here at this racetrack at the present moment, ambient temperatures at about 68 degrees Fahrenheit, so that's rather nice. Track temperatures, on the other hand, 20 degrees Fahrenheit hotter at 88 degrees Fahrenheit. So that is round about the window where these tires start to, I wouldn't necessarily say melt, but they would start to get a bit greasy as Paolo Brema going to take to the runoff area and try and...
that's the M1 line.
I'm not really sure what to say to such a thing. But yeah, I was going to say that was the historic version of this track, but no, that section's actually gotten simplified over the years. If anyone's ever seen what Eau Rouge and Radion used to look like at Spa way back in the 20s, that used to just basically be 290 degrees leading into an uphill slow hairpin, as we all know what time it is. We like to have a good time here at Slow Motion Broadcasting. Yeah. See, Adam is no longer our boss here at SMB, so I cannot request for him to pay my therapy bills hearing a man from the Air Force meow into my ear.
Yeah. It's been a couple of weeks. We haven't had the opportunity to hear Adam's caterwauling. So, yeah, it was kind of nice.
It was something, all right. I can't tell whether it's fun or a frontal lobe migraine. But there we go. That's Adam coming in to say his piece. It's always nice to hear from Adam, and you can catch him on the Racing Line podcast over on the Ray Esports YouTube channel on Tuesday nights at, I think it's 9. I need to get the time right. See, I know the date. I know the guest for this upcoming week, which is going to be Jason Grider, but I don't get the times fully slotted down as well. And there must be some.
I think it's 8 p.m. Central Time. So I think that's right. Either 7 or 8 Central Time Tuesday.
I was just going to say there must be some party going on outside because I hear someone turn their car on with a stupid amount of bass. It is the city of Philadelphia. Could be expected. But I will say, one company that will not put absurdly large subwoofers in your car, but will make your race car rather quick, is the sponsor that we've had for the second half of this season. And these broadcasts of the Spec Racer Forward Weekend Warriors being brought to you by Alliance Autosport. Based in Columbus, Ohio, Alliance Autosport's mission is to provide unparalleled racing support and services to their clients. Whether it be car prep or driver coaching and development, the hardworking team at Alliance Autosports strive to build a community of passionate and successful racers. Alliance specializes in SRF3, FE2, and TA2 machinery, and their track record in those classes should tell you everything you need to know about the great team of talented people over there. For more information, head on off to AllianceAutosport.com. We'd like to thank Alliance for being the sponsor of the second half of the Spec Racer Ford Weekend Warrior season. And with that, let's get a look at the starting grid for this race here, the 11th round of this season. It will be Christian Kabanka starting this race from the pole. The American from California will start this race in the number 78 car at the front. Alongside him on the front row will be the Spec 1 driver of Joachim Osbeck. In third, it will be Maurizio Nazelli on that championship hunt. Our SMB colleague, Mr. Joshua Wilkie, will start in fourth. Right behind him will be our Spec 2 pole sitter of Eric Luke. Alongside him will be our Spec 2 winner from last time out, Simon Nadvernick. In P7, it's going to be Flavio Andallo. In P8, it will be Jason Green. Paul Jackson will start this race in ninth, with Matt Thompson rounding out your top 10.
Yeah, starting in P11 and on the Masters pole is Tom Gradwell. Stevie Ray starts on the outside in 12th position, and the championship battle continues with Jeff Richard just behind, starting in 13th. Paolo Brema starts in 14th, Andrew Love in 15th, Jim Brewster starts in 16th, Jeff Jacobson in 17th, Brad Cathcart in 18th. Good morning, Brad. Adam Bradshaw in 19th. Ade Allen starts in 20th. Andrea Favini starts in 21st. And bringing up the rear, shotgun of the field, our buddy Adam Thompson, Mr. Meow Meow himself, will start dead freaking last.
And I think if he decided to hit the track for qualifying instead of commentary booth and Meow, he'd start outside of the last row. But nonetheless, Christian Kabanka, a return to the Weekend Warriors for him. Charles, we got a lot of experience commentating races with Christian.
Yeah.
He's an incredible driver, and won't be shocked at all if he has that number 78 car pinned up at the front of the field throughout this race coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. Christian, I haven't seen him in a while, but have covered him quite a bit, and is a very accomplished spec racer driver. Battled for championships here in the Weekend Warriors, and so yeah, definitely expect him to be up in the front running during this race.
Yeah, expecting to see him run well. We are going to see that battle definitely flare up between Maurizio Nazelli and Jason Green. Jason starting a little bit farther back than he probably had in mind. And a special mention as well is going to go out to those Masters racers. Tom Gradwell grabbing the pole in the Masters category for this race, going to be starting this race a little bit farther in the back. P11 is where he will start, as we see Adam. There he is in the 244 as he heads his way off into Brooklands of turn number 4 at the end of that long flat-out blast midway through this lap. Bit disorganized as we're about to get the green here in a couple of moments' time. That pace car making the turn to come down pit lane. The field now in the hands of our pole sitter, Christian Kabanka, as the green flag is out and the drivers are on their way. It's a pretty good start there from Kabanka. The 110 of Osbeck, he's going to have a battle on his hands with Wilkie in the middle, and Maurizio Nazelli trying to make something work on the inside. Wilkie's going to back out of it. He'll still try and get that move done on Osbeck, who's stuck on the outside line. Looks like we have some checking up, heading all through cops of turn number 1, but at the front of the field, Kabanka got off to a flyer.
He did. Good start by Kabanka. We still see some battling back there with Eric Luke, Simon Van. Oh, big wreck right here. Ade Allen. Looks like Andrew Love involved. Jeff Jacobson involved as well. Looks like Adam Bradshaw is still back there, but I don't think he got involved in that. So it's just those 3 cars as far as I can see.
Yeah, an unfortunate moment for all of those racers, though. I think that really snowballed with the stacking up that I saw coming out of turn number 1 and ended, unfortunately, for those racers, as that's damage on the front of that race car. That's Brad Cathcart in the 905 with big damage on the front end. Now, usually you think, okay, a small little aerodynamic tweak, nothing too big. These Spec Racer Ford cars, though, a bit of damage like that with the tire sticking out, it'll basically feel like he's dragging a parachute. So not the start that he had in mind. May have to come in to repair that damage as soon as that pit window opens in about 9 minutes time. But it's Christian Kabanka followed by Maurizio Nazelli. Josh Wilkie occupying the final podium spot. Adam Thompson, Chief Meow Meow on a charge at the moment. Must be some catnip on the leader's race cars as he's slotted all the way up in 16th at the moment, as it looks like we have some more battling in Spec 2 between Nadvernick and Eric Luke.
Yep, absolutely. Just also checked Tom Gradwell in that championship battle for Masters has fallen down, so he was obviously somewhere involved in that. He's dropped down to P18, 7 positions lost in the first lap.
It was side by side at the front of the field between Moritz and Nazelli and Christian Kabanka. That's Nazelli jumping his way up to the front, and his main championship rival of Jason Green staying neutral than he has ever since the drop of the green flag. Finds himself in P8 at the present moment. He's still involved in this battle. He's at the tail end of this pack. But Jason Green, he's that driver who has that Zen-like patience in these races. He will wait for the opportunities to come his way, and he won't try and force the issue too much. I could see a car with damage as we were cycling through the cameras there. That was Adam Bradshaw missing the entire front clip of his race car. Now, even though the conditions are definitely hot in this race with 80-degree Fahrenheit track temperatures and 68 degrees Fahrenheit as the ambient, I don't think the air conditioning modification of the Spec Racer Ford will help out in terms of performance as we take a look at how he got that damage in the first place.
Yeah, just 4 wide, and that's not going to ever work out well for most people. And you just saw it was just a chain reaction, contact made in there in the middle of the pack, and just caused cars going every which direction. You see it again there. Yeah, just, it's a little bit early to be running 4 wide, but, some people get kind of caught up and in the moment there, as you see, and just kind of look like, the car moving over. I believe that was, I know it was 8 Allen involved, as well as maybe that was Andrew Love's car, but definitely issues back there in the back of the pack at the start of the race.
And 8 Allen retiring as a result of that incident. He will be the first retirement from this race. 3.5 minutes into this 40-minute long race. 4 laps already, 3 laps in the books, starting lap 4 right now. This is going to be a fast-paced race. These drivers, even in these Spec Racer Fords, which, let's face it, they are not the quickest race cars in the world, they're still going to be chugging away lap after lap after lap after lap. Probably going to have, I would say, 38 laps in this race, depending on how pit stops fall and everything of the sort. As we take a look at some side-by-side, nearly 3 wide battling that ends in tears for Jim Brewster to slide down into turn 4. Tried to stick a 3 wide with himself, Paolo Breme, and Stevie Ray, and it did not work out for him down into Brooklands.
No, offline and just maybe a little too much on the brakes and just kind of locked it up. And rear came around to the front, had to wait a couple cars to get through, but rejoined safely and is back on the track, but down at P19.
An unfortunate moment to happen, but as we jump back to the live action and we have the graphic up, gotta say, we've got Flavio Andallo holding on to the fast lap of the race at the moment. Flavio has been a rather impressive driver up to this point in the season. Yet to grab a win, but he's got some very good results, has he? So as he's slotted in 8th, just at the fast lap of the race last time by, of course, assisted with the draft. I think Andallo is a driver who, I'm not sure if it's going to happen this season, but if Flavio can keep up this pace that he's showing here, he may be in for a very good result in the not-too-far-off future here in this series. As look at Nadvernek trying to make something work on the inside of Joachim Osbeck as he's still getting chased by his Spec 2 rival of Eric Luke. Nadvernek won last time out at Phoenix, and I believe that may have been a series debut, a name that I do not recognize from this championship in my time covering it. But nevertheless, joined this season, last time by at Phoenix, grabbed a pretty good pole position. Wasn't able to win the race, but did grab the pole. Here, though, on the other hand, he's looking to swap out roles with Luke. He's sacrificing that pole for maybe a Spec 2 win as he gets that move done down into Cops.
Yeah, he had a really good race last week for his first time out. I think maybe just made a bad pit stop. Happens to all the newcomers. They just, because they don't do pits and officials, it's kind of a new concept for these cars for most people that come in new. And so, yeah, just a little bit of a little issue on the pit stop, but still had a really good race, was running strong during the course of this. And you could already see what this race is going to look like. You've basically got the top 10 cars within a half second of each other. So it's going to shape up to be one of those races where we're going to have a big draft train, and it's going to come down to pit strategy and picking the move at the right place at the right time in order to get the win today.
Yeah, I think timing is going to be super important for these racers. Try and time out when you go for the move, especially at the end of this race, considering you've got this flat-out blast from the exit of left field of turn number 5 through into Cops of turn 1. That's a long flat-out blast, and Adam Thompson's got to look to try and use that to get a move done on Paolo Brema. Down the inside he goes in the 244, and up into 14th he's going to go, but it's not over yet. Brema looking to have a good exit out of the turn. Going to switch back to the inside. It's going to be on the outside line, though. go down into 2, but if he can keep his own and keep the momentum rolling, got that inside approach down into Aintree of turn number 3. It's close quarter stuff between these racers, side by side, right in front, involving Andre Favini and Brad Cathcart. Cathcart still with the damage on that race car. He's going to be a sitting duck on the straights. He's still getting some moves done, though, as he's side by side with the suite of Favini, as it is still good racing between Thompson and Breme, and it looks like Thompson is going to win out in that battle for now. And look at Stevie Ray, maybe got to try and get involved in this 5-car pack as well.
Yeah, you could just kind of see it. We talked about it being a little bit of a NASCAR feel to it. There you go, 2 by 2, going down the straightaway, draft working on both lines. Stevie just kind of hanging back and keeping an eye out on everything. And it takes a while because you get off on one line and you get the advantage in one corner, but then you lose the advantage in the next corner. So we saw with the Formula Fords when they were here a few weeks ago. Ooh, a little contact there between Nadvernick and Matt Thompson, I believe.
Whoa.
No, that's Flavio Andalo, actually. And it jumps back to the inside as Nadvernick takes the wide line, and he's going to try and make that jump back around, but Nadvernick's got Fritcher in tow.
I thought there was going to be some more being and banging and roughing each other up down into 2 and 3. We were joking before the start of this broadcast how interesting it would be to see a Spec Racer Ford race at Martinsville. I think heading down into that section, we may get a faint view as to how that would be like, except without the lights and the fans looking for some beer cans out there on the racetrack.
And the hot dogs.
Yeah, certainly the hot dogs, especially at Martinsville. Man, I had the perfect opportunity to make a joke there, but much like my baseball career, I swung and I missed.
Oh, too bad. Yeah, Bradshaw running with the advanced air conditioning package on the car. No front clip. So he's going to kind of tuck in behind Jim Brewster here. I think it's not really going to be able to do a lot. I think he's just going to basically hang back behind Jim until we get to the pit stop, which is going to be a little bit later than what we would normally see because it's such a fast track. You're going to burn more fuel. So fuel saving strategy is going to be a little difficult to play out here as we see Kubanka going down through Bonicelli, and Wilkie's going to try and go with him.
And Josh is really deciding that now's the time to fight. He's got a quick race car. I'm not going to say anything more at risk of jinxing him, but Christian Kubanka's run right in front of him. Maurizio Nazelli right behind. And I should note that Jason Green has been on the comeback tour somewhat. He's now made his way up into P6, but has a little bit more ground to gain still if he wants to get up there with his main championship rival, Maurizio Nazelli. Look at Josh maybe trying to think about a move down that start-finish straightaway off into turn number 1. Not close enough, but one car that is close is a lap car a little bit farther up the road. That, I believe, is Andrew Love in 21st, a little bit farther off into the distance. Once he is a part of this battle, that will be when we start to see some more shuffling go on. I think based off the gap, they're probably not going to catch him and get him scored away at the end of the Wellington straightaway. So they may very well catch up to Andrew Love heading off through Brooklands of 4, Luffield of 5, or Woodcut of 6. Love me some corner games.
Yeah, absolutely. As we're back here with Adam Thompson, a good job. Mr. Adams up 9 positions, right behind Favini. He was also up 9 positions. And we're back up here at the front. Yeah, it's been Josh has done a good job. I don't want to jinx him either, but he's done a good job. He's made the moves when he needed to. He's up in P2, Naselli right behind him. Ozbek is back there as well. Eric Luke in P5. And you just see this, we've still got the gap. The cars we're at the front 6, and then a little gap back to P7 with Thompson and another 4-car train. But it just takes a couple of little battles up front, and that's back to a 10-car, 11-car pack in no time flat.
As we jump back to the live action, they have still yet to catch up to Andrew Love. I think it's causing a bit of a stack up here, as it is now the top 10, covered by just about nothing, and Paul Jackson is only just barely outside of this fight with a 1.3 second gap between himself and Flavio Andalo, who can make up about a half a second. He'll get involved in the draft, and he'll be able to catch up too, as Nazelli maybe going to try and size up an overtake around the outside through turn number 4 on Wilkie to jump his way up into P2. Nazelli, that's Wilkie really dancing around the track as he heads his way off through 5. That corner's oh so tough. I've always found it difficult. It's flat heading off through there, so you don't have any elevation change screwing you up. But at the same time, it's flat to the point where you don't really have a good sighting point as you head your way off through that section. You basically have to just turn in and hope that there's an apex wherever you end up.
Yeah, pretty much. That's that corner is very difficult because, as you said, kind of tightens up as you're working your way through, and it makes it very difficult to get a good sighting for the apex and then the corner exit as well. But Josh doing a good job hanging in there. Since he's moved up to Spec 1 this season, he's had a little bit of work to get up there, but you can start to see that the practice is starting to pay off for him.
Rather smooth from him as Adam Bradshaw has made the call to come down pit lane as Josh Wilkie gonna make that call to go for a move down into turn number 4. There's Wilkie jumping in front of Christian Kabanka. That's a statement move from Josh. I mean, we'd be lying if we said he wasn't our buddy, considering the amount of shows that I've done with him over the years. But it's nice to see him out here. He is finally he's finally gotten that force field up above him. He's avoided any sort of falling anvils, and hopefully with that, I didn't just jinx him.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's hope not. We want all these cars to finish this race and get the best result they can with just their on the track. As we see Nadvernick falling down a spot, that's Fritcher going by, and there was a car off. Was that Matt Thompson?
Oh, it was,
the 333 car. Yeah, so something happened to Matt coming out of I believe that was out of turn 1, so maybe a little bit wide. So we'll get a replay here as we're coming down through into turn 1, and just loses the rear of the car. Just has to fight it, then high sides it over into the gravel. Luckily, gravel there to catch him, keep him from hitting the wall. So that's all of his track position gone. So he's going to have to work his way back from the back. I did see Adam Bradshaw come in for his pit, and he had the damage. So I'm going to assume that means that the pit window is now open. So we're at the 13.5-minute mark. So cars should start coming in here in short order for people who might think about an undercut, but I'm not sure that's going to be the play today.
As we take a look at a replay of some racing at the front of the field involving Kabanka, Nazelli, and Wilkie. I think Josh has been shuffled back down into third. Yes, he has. Still up one spot from where he started in this race, and certainly happy to be involved in that discussion. As Jason Green making that call to come into the pits himself. So that's a big pit call from your championship leader coming into this race. Jason Green, after not doing too well compared to his championship rival of Nazelli the last 2 weeks, he's looking to be on the comeback tours. He makes that call to pit. He'll be joined in that call by Tom Gradwell and Jeff Jacobson. I do want to raise this though, Charles, talking about the pit strategy in this race. Considering how much of this lap is spent flat out, how often these drivers are going to be bending the floor pans in their race cars, and how strong the draft is in these machines as well, I feel like this track is actually a rather good opportunity for these drivers to do some heavy fuel savings. So for Jason Green, I think that may be the strategy call that he's playing. Come in early and make it to the end.
Yeah, so but I would say that's probably what Jason's really good at. He's really good at his fuel calculation, has been for many, many seasons so far. Just comparing him to the other cars that came in, he was a little bit slower than Adam Bradshaw, who came in a little bit earlier, but is a little bit quicker than Tom Gradwell. So kind of not really sure yet.
I think one benefit that Jason does have when it comes to working out the numbers, I'm about 85% sure that he's an accountant in real life. So that may end up helping him out. Meanwhile, compare that to me. Actually, I was going to say that I'm absolutely terrible in math. Math was one of the few subjects that I actually really cared about when I came to school. And here's a fun fact for all of you as we still have this close quarters racing at the front of the field. Back in 6th grade, when I was still in karts, I was thinking, okay, if I don't make it to Formula One, I would love to become a motorsports statistician. And fast forward a couple of years, look where I ended up. I'm now yapping people's ears off on the internet about pixels moving on a screen. Jason Green, he's currently slotted in 16th at the moment in the 160 car. And this, as much as it would be good at other tracks, I think this may be a curse for Jason Green.
Yeah.
He is basically alone. I have seen towns in Wyoming that are more occupied than Jason Green's general vicinity.
Yeah, and that was why I said not sure that the undercut is the right call here. I mean, it's probably a good idea. He got out of the traffic. It might have been getting just a little too racy for what he wanted to do right now. So in that sense, probably a good idea to just bail out and go in and take your fuel and get back out. But yeah, he doesn't have anybody to draft with. He's got quite a bit of a gap um, up to get to the next car, which is Jim Brewster in P14. He's almost 18 seconds back. So it's going to take a little bit of work to get up there. So he's not doing himself a whole lot of favors by running solo, because there's a little bit of time there as Naselli retakes the lead.
And if Maurizio Naselli can really get the legs up on Jason Green in this race, that would give us a titanic championship battle coming into the next race of this season. We'll say when it comes to the drop rounds, though, you take this however you want. I am not 100% sure about this information. This is just my best educated guess as the person who does not work out the points, but who does commentate these races. I believe Naselli has the far worse in terms of average finish compared to Jason Green. Jason has always been consistent, always up towards the front. Naselli, on the other hand, I wouldn't say he's been spotty, but he's definitely had the lower lows than Jason Green. So I think Naselli's main goal in this race is win it, but he's down P2. Gonna drop back down to third as Josh Wilkie gonna get moved on him to jump his way up into second. There's a nice move from Josh, and there was a nice move from Kabanka to jump his way back into the race lead. And now, as we get into the halfway mark of this race and take a look at this replay to see how Christian Kabanka was able to get this move done on him, actually we'll figure out something that may have happened involving Stevie down into turn number 4. May have been a mistake at this very hard section of the racetrack to nail down. I have never had a good relationship with turn number 4 Brooklands around this racetrack, and I think with that moment, Stevie can probably agree with me.
Yeah, I think Stevie's probably thinking the same thing right now. Just a little too hot into the corner. Had to press a little bit harder on the brake, and that caused the rear let go. A little spin, but luckily plenty of runoff there in Brooklands to get the car righted and get rejoined.
Yeah, and a tough moment to have heading down that straightaway, but again, it's just a part of this track. You know, Silverstone, I like to make this comparison from time to time when it comes to some of the British tracks that we have just in the world and in sim racing as well. You basically have two varieties. You've got tracks like this, Snetterton, and some other tracks in the UK, Thruxton that we visited earlier on for the Formula Fords. You got these tracks that are built on old RAF bases, rather flat, and then you've got other tracks like Alton Park, Cadwell Park, and some other tracks here, Brands Hatch, for instance, tracks where you do have a lot of elevation change. You got two varieties, and hey, it's the spice of life. You got some tracks that are flat, other tracks that are really hilly. It gives the best of both worlds when it comes to being a race fan in the UK, and we've been able to see some very good races in these Spec Race Fords at these UK tracks, and I think we have a pretty good one brewing right now as we get about 20 seconds away from the halfway mark.
Yeah, it's been a good race so far. It's about what we expected up front. Is they're basically just drafting off each other, making the pass when they get the overspeed, as you see Naselli going back around Wilkie. Position 2, back up in position 2. Wilkie drops back down to third. Still got Osbeck and Luke back there behind them. It's a nice little 5-car train up here, and those guys are going to try and make their passes without really sacrificing any speed into the corners. They want to try to get those passes done cleanly and quickly, as we see the battle here with Ondalo and Nadvernick. Ondalo in P6. I think that's a change for position. So he's up at P6, Nadvernick in P7. They're still having themselves quite a good run. They've dropped off the back just a bit, though.
And they have lost a little bit of time, so it is breaking up towards the front of the field, and that is music to the ears of Eric Luke, who now holds on to a pretty good Spec 2 Liz. Yeah, there you can see the lap traffic there. That's as well.
A little bit of a connection that could tell him it was. If it's somebody else, I know I feel that he's not sure. I'm here. Are you there? All right. Think you. Yep. All right. So we're going to get back. Sorry about that technical difficulties there, as we're back here with the lead group, and they've managed to work their way around, around the lap markers or back markers of Gradwell and Bradshaw. Just mix their names up there. So the top 5 are still together, with Gradwell and Bradshaw just behind them a lap down.
Man, I'm not sure what in the world happened there a couple of moments ago with Discord. I knew things were bad when I was talking, and Guido was trying to speak to me. It sounded like Mr. Roboto. So
yep,
I'm not sure what the deal was, but I think we are back, getting green bars. So Discord briefly crapped out on us. So thankfully Discord is back and up and rolling. We apologize for that brief little technical blip with these drivers, hoping that they don't have any connection issues of their own regard and can make it all the way through to the checkered flag, which is coming up in about 17 minutes time here for round number 11 of the Spec Racer Forward Weekend Warriors. We've got battles going on all throughout the field. As much as he came into the commentary booth at meowed and is probably going to do that a few more times to send me into therapy, Adam Thompson has put on a mighty drive at the present moment. 13 spots gained ever since the drop of the green flag, but he's not alone in that brigade. He's battling hard with Paul Jackson, but right in front of him is Andre Favini, who's also up 13 spots from where he started in this race. So as much as we've got a battle for the win, we've also got a battle for the hard charger award at the end of this race too.
Yeah, they've basically just kind of worked their way up through the field together, and they've had a good run, as you said, up 13 positions. And at some point they'll hit their pit stops, and there'll be a battle for that spot, and we'll see how everything shakes out. I've been kind of watching Jason Green. He is gaining time on Jim Brewster. Not really gaining a lot of time on the cars in front, but he's pretty much matched their pace. So he's doing a really good job out there by himself.
Still running pretty all right. We still got a lot of time left to go in this race, so things can change as we take a look at Flavio Andallo getting a move down into turn number 2 and 3. That was himself and I believe Nadvonek. So that was a pretty convincing move from Andallo, but I don't think the battle was over yet, as we have seen Flavio Andallo lose out on that spot over the past couple of moments. And I think it may have been a swapper right towards the end of this replay, potentially. Andallo still leads them heading off through turn 15, turn 5. This track is far too short to have more than 15 turns around it, but Andallo did lose out on that spot at the end of it all, as Ozbek, Pella Breme, and Brad Cathcart have all made that call to come into the pits. That Masters class, we've been talking so much about that front pack fight. I think the Masters class is looking to be rather intriguing as well.
Yeah, they've had a really good run. Obviously, Gradwell had the early drama that's basically taken him out of the battle for the win in class. But as we see, so we're here with Kabanka. Looks like he's jumped out to a little bit of a gap, and he's kind of broken the draft of that group that's got Naselli, Wilkie, Luke, and that's it. That's the top 4. Still have those cars of Gradwell, as now Naselli is coming in for his pit stop.
Yeah, oh boy, let me try that one again. Maurizio Nazelli making that call to come down pit lane. Nadvernek will join him in that Spec 2 car, as that is going to be a big game changer here in this race. Let's see how Nazelli exits that compared to Jason Green, because that has some weight when it comes to Green's strategy call to come in while the first drivers to pit in this race. And will it work out for the driver of the 160 car? He's heading his way around the final turn right now. I believe Nazelli has just made his way into the pit stall. So let's see, will Jason Green be able to jump in front of one of the drivers battling for the race win and his main championship rival as well? I think this may be coming up well for Jason Green as Nazelli. He's on pit exit, but look at that. That's Green with the run on the racetrack. That's Jason Green jumping in front of Nazelli. That is a huge gain for Jason Green. We'll have to see once the likes of Christian Kabanka, Eric Luke, and Josh Wilkie come into the pits as well. But just in regards to the class championship battle for Spec 1, that's a huge upper hand to Jason Green.
It really is. It really is. That's a great run by Green.
What in the world has happened to Josh? He's dropped down like a anvil push out of a helicopter. Let's take a look at this here, Charles.
All right, let's take a look at this as we got that's Eric Luke to the inside. Wilkie making that run down into Brooklands, I believe. And Josh running that tight line into the corner. And just, did he get a slowdown? Did he cut that too deep?
Potentially.
It doesn't look
I
like
think
it. Looks like he's, yeah, it looks like he's back on pace though, but it's kind of weird. It's just kind of,
Yeah, I think what's going on right now is the fact that Christian
oh,
Cabanca
there
has
we
been
go.
able to break away from the draft of those
Yeah.
drivers as we take a look at that moment. Yeah, Christian Cabanca was able to shake those two off like a bad case of the fleas, and now Cabanca running off with a pretty comfortable lead as these two are running nose to tail. But Cabanca, he decides, you know what, now's the time to come into pit lane with 27.5 minutes on the board. This will give the race lead to Eric Luke. Josh Wilkie will be slotted in P2. Flavio Andallo jumps up to third as he stays out. Adam Thompson and Paul Jackson go to join Cabanca down pit lane as here these two go out of turn number 1. They've got Jim Brewster exiting the pits right around them. That pit exit blend is super, super tough around here, and thankfully it does not end in disaster as those two encroach upon that driver there. But here's Jason Green heading his way down this start-finish straightaway right now. Christian Cabanca still down in pit lane. He had a pretty good run thus far in this race, but will the 78 be able to jump in front of Cabanca? He's slow on exit. Will it be Green in front? Ozbek sets the fast lap of the race, and here comes Jason Green. It's going to be a drag race between these two, but it's going to be Jason Green pulling out in front of Cabanca. Now has a bit of a challenge on his hands. Stay in the tow, stay in the draft, keep the momentum rolling and get those tires up to temperature to have a shot of winning this race, as here come Josh Wilkie and Eric Luke into pit lane.
Yep, they're coming in for their stop of the race, and only Flavio Andallo is still out there. I did notice that Adam Thompson and Andrea Favini came in as well at the same time, but it looks like, just as I say that, Adam Thompson looks like he is towed back to the pits. I'm not sure what happened. We'll have to get the replay there. But Andallo manages to keep the lead for at least a lap or so before he has to come in for his pit stop.
I think we're going to take a look at some moments here. Yeah, here is Adam Thompson exiting his way out of pit lane. It's been a very good drive for him up to this point, but I think it may have just unraveled there as he heads his way off into turn number 3.
Yep.
Loops it around, hits the cone, and then spins around. I think he decided to come to a stop, grind to a halt, and tow back to pit lane. That's an unfortunate moment for him, but hey, that's what you get for coming into my commentary booth and meowing into my ear, you son of a... Palabrema is currently running in 9th at the present moment. Says here's Flavio Andallo finally making that call to come into the pits, the last driver to stay at their own fuel. Talk about the fuel-saving game here at Silverstone. Just saw that get put on full display, but one driver who has mastered it is Jason Green, up 6 spots from where he started in this race. And as much as the win is good, it's even sweeter when you realize that Maritza Nazelli, he's slotted in 5th. It's going to be net P4 when Flavio Andallo comes out of the pits here in a couple of moments on. He's finally hit his pit stall. Going to be stopped there for at least another 10 seconds. So it will be Jason Green jumping back into the race lead. Cabanca slotted in P3 at the moment, will jump into 2nd. There's Andallo on pit exit. I don't think this is going to be too terrible for Andallo. He may be able to help out Jason Green a little bit and come out run from Maritza Nazelli, and if that is, that will be a disastrous series of events for the driver, the number 44. It's close on pit exits. Nazelli just barely jumps in front of him. Eric Luke now going to be behind the driver coming out of pit lane right now. Luke, your current leader in Spec 2, while Masters is led by Jeff Fritcher in this camera shot right here. But Andallo actually worked out surprisingly well for him. I don't think he gained too much, but I think he did gain some.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he's sitting in good position there in 5th, and he's in that train of cars, and that train of cars is going to be trying to catch the P2 and P3 runners of Cabanca and Wilkie. They're 1.5 seconds behind Jason Green, and they're going to be doing everything they can to work together to get back up to Green and make this a battle at the end of the race, because obviously they can battle for P2, but I think what they want is to be battling for P1. So I think they're going to be smart about this, work together, and see if they can get their way back up to that lead car.
Trying to make his way up to the front of the field. These drivers have enough time in their back pocket whereby they can try and make some moves. The front of the field, though, Jason Green with a 1.7-second gap to himself and Christian Kabanka, as here's Eric Luke maybe trying to make something work on Andalo down into 2 and 3. It's close, it's tight, it's very nearly a disaster. Eric Luke, as much as he wants to get a good result out of this race, he can afford to risk it. He has that championship points gap, so Luke maybe going to try and squabble up at the end of this race to break his way up into the top 5. This is not a good situation, though, for Maurizio Nazelli. He will have to hope for a miracle to finish in front of Jason Green, and if Green can leave this race, I think he is going to be good. And Jason Green, he's still pulling that gap to himself and Kabanka as well. Now it's over 2 seconds. Jason Green getting into the cruise lane here for a Sunday afternoon drive.
Yeah, he is definitely trying to do that. So that he is starting to stretch the gap a little bit. We'll see what Kabanka has. Obviously, we talked about it. You know, just coming back. Don't know if he's had any time to any practice in the car, but came back for the race. So obviously, very, very accomplished. Jason knows that. Jason's been around long enough to know how quick Christian is in the Spec racer. So he'll definitely be keeping one eye in the rearview mirror, keeping an eye on that gap back to Kabanka.
We'll have to see if two of the weekend warriors' best will be able to battle right towards the end of this race here at Silverstone. Coming up to 7 minutes left to go on the clock. Probably about 7 laps left to go in this race. And it's 2 by 2 in this camera shot. That's Nazelli and Eric Luke battling side by side. And Dallo and Ozbek coming to blows as they head their way down into turn number 4. A light touch between the two of them. That's going to bring Jeff Fritcher involved in this battle as well and cause them to lose touch ever so slightly with that duo of Nazelli and Eric Luke right in front. That trio, if they start to battle a little bit, we will see that 5-car battle break into a 2 and 3, which I certainly won't rule out at all. Eric Luke, though, he's got a fast race car, just set the fast lap of the race last time by at a 1:02.625. Luke is a quick racer. He's now running in the final spot inside the top 5, and I think he wants more. He's smelling blood in the water with Maurizio Nazelli, who's probably not too happy about how things have gone for him in this race. So Eric Luke, I think he's got some gumption behind him.
Yeah, I think you're right. And this group is starting to this group is starting to catch Wilkie, and Wilkie's kind of dropping off a little bit from Kabanka. So they're gonna this is about to become a 6-car battle, and we'll see if they can manage to get back up to Kabanka as well. But the gap between Kabanka and Green is still stretched out 2.5 seconds.
Yeah, and it's looking very, very good for Jason Green, but Kabanka going to feel that pressure from Wilkie, who's now starting to feel some more pressure from Nazelli behind. This is going to be a titanic battle for the podium spots. Kabanka, I gotta say, very nice to see him back here in the Weekend Warriors world. About a year ago, he produced one of the fantastic all-time Weekend Warriors finishes with the Formula 4 at Imola, one of those himself and Yanchi Lin battling, and I think that battle resulted in a gap of like 0.7 of a second, like 0.07 of a second or something insane at the end of that race. Pure insanity there. So one of the, I think maybe possibly the closest Formula 4 Weekend Warriors finish in the history of the series, dating back to about March of 2023, as that's Andalo looking to get some moves done as well after he dropped down. Had a moment heading down into 2 and 3, lost out to Ozbek and Fritcher. I believe he, those were the only 2 cars that overtook him, but he's still there within striking distance. I think he wants to dust himself up as well as he possibly can and maybe regain those spots that he just lost with this moment. Yeah, you can see him getting close to the back of Eric Luke. These cars are so momentum based, the drivers want to arc it through, and sadly there and Dallo with the second checkup having to slow down and lose 2 spots.
Yep, that's exactly what it was. He just had to check up for the car in front and had to basically just got offline, and it was a nice, easy pass for Ozbek and Fritcher as we're here now with a battle with Jim Brewster and Tom Gradwell. Masters battle here for P15 and 16, and we're back up to the front. Luke looking to the inside of Wilkie, who's already been passed by Naselli.
Oh, wow. That's Ozbek nearly running off into the grass to get a move done on Wilkie. You can tell that was a slick move based off the fact that sounded like a tornado siren for a few moments, as here comes Ozbek pulling back into the draft of Wilkie, not able to get that move done as they had their way down the Wellington straightaway. So it will be Wilkie remaining in P5 at the present moment. So a very good result for the driver of the number 23 car if he can just hang on in the final 3.5 minutes of this 40-minute long race. Jason Green, though, now at a 3-second gap between himself and Christian Kabanka. Nazelli is about 1 second behind, so I don't think we'll have that titanic battle for P2 that we may have thought. And we'll say rather okay damage control for Maurizio Nazelli if he can hang on to the final podium spot. But he does have some pressure from Luke right behind. He's got the pressure from Wilkie, but Wilkie's feeling the burn with Joachim Osbeck going side by side with him down the flat out stretch into 2 and 3. Will we see a move there? We will see a move there as Fritzscher jumps his way up into 7th. Josh Wilkie, it should be noted here, part of the reason why he's probably dropping back could be down to the fact he had a very short stop. Spent 10.2 seconds stopped in his pit, so I believe it would be rounded up to 10.3 on our graphics. But it was a very short stop from him. Compare that to the likes of Jeff Fritzscher, who just put a move done on him. That was 13.9 seconds that Fritzscher spent. These drivers spent multiple seconds less down pit lane than Josh, as he's slow coming out of the corner.
Yeah.
He needs to come into the pits. Oh, no. He wants to avoid running out of gas and picking up the Thompson Trophy there. I think he'll pick it up anyway for fuel management. And if anyone would like to have my job here at Slow Motion Broadcasting, why not write to us at slowmotionbroadcasting@gmail.com and address your letter. I'm very sorry that Ron got fired, but can I please have his job now?
There you go. Yeah, unfortunate for Josh. Tried a fuel gamble, did not pay off. So he's going to come in, take a splash, come back out, and rejoin the race. But top 5 done. He's done in 14th, and so it's going to be a tough pill to swallow from being a leader of the race there at one point in time to dropping all the way out.
And as I wrap up this race and my farewell performance here on SMB with the worst commentator jinx of the century, you can see that was Osbeck really dirty heading his way off through turn number 4. These cars not driving very good. We talked about it in the qualifying session earlier on, how the conditions aren't very fantastic, as that's Christian Kabanka making the call to come into the pits. What in the world is going on here with Kabanka? Is it a short stop? Is it some sort of fuel issue? He spent 13 seconds down in his pit stall last time by, so this is not anything to do with a black flag. That's down to fuel. That is a disastrous mistake for the 78 of Kabanka. Now it is firmly in Jason Green's hands. Eric Luke set to finish in P2 unless Maurizio Nazelli has anything to say about it as he looks for a move down to turn number 2 and 3, but Kabanka with a heartbreaking mistake having to come into the pits.
Yeah, pretty tough. Obviously first race back and misses out on the fuel a little bit, but looks like that he's not going to have the day he thought he was going to about 5 minutes ago, having to come in and take a stop. And now Osbeck has passed Naselli to take over P3.
As Jason Green going to be taking the white flag this time by. One more lap of racing action for him, and this may very well be a drive that I can't necessarily say 100% clinches the Spec 1 championship, but he'll be able to have one hand on it if he could just bring that car home. He still has 5 corners left to go in this race and a tick under 1.5 miles left to go. Jason Green on track for another win this season. He's been quick. He has been damn consistent as well. And Jason Green, if he can hold on to it, it would be a fantastic drive for him. Started this race in 8th, went with that alternate strategy, and he is going to be coming out of it smelling like a rose if he can hang on here in a few moments. As we look at these racers heading their way, that's Fritzscher. He's running out of gas as well. You can see him slow down the Wellington straightaway. Something is going on with the driver of the 943. I'm not sure whether that car is sputtering, about to run out of gas or what. But for Jason Green at the front of this field, it is going to be a win, and a crucial win at that. As he heads his way around the final corner of Woodcut, Jason Green, who came oh so close to the championship last season, going to have one hand on it heading into the final week of this Spec Racer Ford Weekend Warrior season, as a photo finish right behind between Eric Luke and Joachim Osbeck. Luke going to finish P2, winning it in the Spec 2 category. Here's Jeff Fritzscher. This is going to, okay, he needs to break out those rowing paddles. I think he'll have enough momentum to cross the line before Brad Cathcart overtakes him. That is big when it comes to his respective Masters Championship fight as well. There's Cathcart crossing the line right there. Matt Thompson, who was nearly involved in a championship battle earlier on in Spec 2, is going to finish this race in P12. Here's Christian Kabanka, a heartbreaking series of events for him. He'll cross the line in lucky number P13. Tom Gradwell going to finish right behind Jim Brewster in P16. But man, Charles, it cannot be understated how good of a drive that was from Jason Green. He ended up only 2.8 seconds in front of Eric Luke. Yeah, only 2.8 seconds in front of him. He definitely took it easy on that last lap, but
Yeah.
he could afford to. He executed that strategy perfectly, and I think he just did himself a whole world of favors.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the undercut strategy paid off in a big way for Jason. Oh, we're getting a little Pop-Tart action there from Jason's car from Stevie coming in on a blinder. It's just, oh, here we go. So yeah, great race by Jason. Got it just absolutely perfect. A great battle with the rest of those front runners. I mean, it was tight all the way to the end there, and you saw Ozbek try to make a move there on Luke at the very end to try to take P2. Just not quite enough, but great racing all the way around.
As you can see, oh, there's Adam Bradshaw coming in. I was trying to see who that was upside down. I think, was that potentially Eric Luke? I'm not too sure. These Spec Racer Fords look so goofy when the front and the rear bodywork is completely gone. It looks like the strangest Formula car you will ever see in your entire life as these drivers burn it down and treat. Oh, someone just conked their engine there. I could see the puff of smoke go up and the unmistakable sound of metal snapping. And backing up into him is Paul Jackson trying to monster truck over Flavio Andallo. I'm not sure if these cars have the torque to be able to do such a thing. Well, you never get you never grow old, and you never grow tired of seeing this sight of these cars bounce around and the iRacing physics being ever so slightly janky as four cars banging into each other. You know what that reminds me of? This is a very odd thing to say. Down at the Jersey Shore, I forget what they call. I think they're called conker balls or something like that. It's these like two like crystal balls attached to a string, and these kids would just basically like put them between their index and their middle finger and wing them back and forth, and you could hear walking down the boardwalk in Wildwood, New Jersey, conk 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 conk. And my dad would always be like, if you ever do that, you're going to end up breaking your nose. So that's part of the reason why I never got one of those. Whenever I see those cars, that's what reminds me of that, or like a news cradle or something like that. But you know, before we go off into a discussion about random knickknacks, I think we're going to take a look at the results at the end of this race and let you know that Jason Green was able to cross that start-finish line to win it all at the end. 2.8 seconds was the gap to himself and your Spec 2 winner of Eric Luke, with Joachim Ozbek rounding out your podium in third. Maritza Natali will cross the line in fourth in the 44. Flavio Andallo in the 13 will round out your top five. We have Simon Nadvernek finishing in sixth place. It's Jeff Fritcher in seventh. Paolo Brema will finish this race in P8. Andre Favini, the hard charger in this race, will finish in ninth, with Brad Cathcart rounding out our top 10.
Yep, Paul Jackson finishes in 11th. Matt Thompson in 12th. Christian Kabanko, the late race pit stop for fuel, finishes in 13th. Adam Bradshaw, 14th. Tom Gradwell in 15th. Jim Brewster in 16th. Stevie Ray in 17th. Jeff Jacobson, 18th. Josh Wilkie, also miscalculation on the fuel strat, finishing in 19th. Adam Thompson finishes in 20th. Andrew Love in 21st. And Aid Allen with the wreck early finishes in 22nd.
And so those are your results at the end of the second to last race of the Spec Racer Forward Weekend Warriors season. Got some drivers looking to have a chat with us, and I think I will get the interviews and the festivities started by having a chat with our Spec 1 winner at the end of this race, a man who played the strategy game to an absolute treat, Jason Green, now joining us in the commentary booth. Now, Jason, that looked like a pretty tame race for you right towards the end. Certainly gambling with that early call to come into the pits, but worked out like a treat for you. How was it out there here at Silverstone?
Yeah, that was probably my most satisfying win for sure. Way better than the other three this season because I just did it on pure pace. Overfueled in the pit stop. Took way too much fuel, so I had a slower pit stop, but still was able to put in the lap times to jump everybody. So yeah, super satisfied with that. Didn't really make any huge mistakes or anything. So yeah, I'm really pleased with that. Yeah.
And hearing the let's go call from our producer Guido, but man, that looked like just a really satisfying day in the office here at Silverstone. And we talked about this a lot. The championship battle between yourself and Maurizio Nazelli coming towards the end of the season. We saw you involved in the battle last season with Felix Samoes, and you ended up coming oh so close when it came to that. But heading into the next round of this season, I think things are looking rather good for you in the championship. So was that riding on your mind at all heading into this race, or was that just kind of on the back burner?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I've got to definitely have to do something special to beat Maurizio. And to be equal on pace with him in quality pretty much, and then be faster than him during the race. That's definitely a first. I can never ever count on being faster than Maurizio. Usually, like at best, I can be 2 or 3 tenths slower. So yeah, that was definitely part of it. Part of how hyped I am about that, because yeah, I was actually able to pull away from Maurizio for once. Probably just a one-off. I'm not gonna kid myself. He's probably just having an off day today, but yeah, I'll take that.
And that's your 4th win thus far here in the Spec Racer Ford Weekend Warriors here in Season 2 of 2025. Have the opportunity to get your 5th and have the opportunity to get a championship at Oschersleben in 1 week's time. That track is about as medium as they get. I think I described that track as being perfectly medium when the Formula Vs went there a couple of weeks ago, but it's going to be a tame track with a lot of tension heading into that race in 1 week's time.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that's in the V's, it's a driver track a little bit, but it's mainly a draft track. In the SRFs, it's a super technical track. I think we've only run it once before, and I don't remember how that race went, to be honest. So yeah, that'll be interesting. Definitely have to put in a lot of practice this week. A lot more than this week, since Silverstone National only has like 4 corners, so didn't have to do much practice. But Oschersleben, yeah, I'll have to definitely put in the hours.
Yeah, I gotta try and get that practice in for that race in 1 week's time. But hey, Jason, well done on the victory here at Silverstone, and we'll let you give your thanks and chats out before we let you go and celebrate the win.
Yeah, shout out to Stevie, as always. It's his last race that he's going to be able to do with us this season. It's another great season put together by him, as always. And yeah, can't say enough good things about Stevie. Organizing this league and putting everything together, keeping everybody together. So yeah, just 1000% shout out to Stevie.
And I think we'll be able to have a chat with him here in a couple of moments to get some news about the 45th Weekend Warriors V Runnels. So all of you tuning into this broadcast, stay tuned here to SMB and stay tuned to this broadcast to hear that in a couple of moments. But Jason, thank you for joining us here in the booth. Well done on the win at Silverstone. Excited to see you contend for a championship at Oschersleben in 1 week's time.
Let's go. Thanks, y'all.
And right there was the Professor Jason Green joining us here in the commentary booth. And Charles, I'll let you have dibs on who you want to have a chat with next.
Well, let's stick with the race, and let's bring Eric Luke in here. P2 overall, winning the Spec 2 class. So let's get him in here. Eric, great run today. Congratulations on a P2 overall. Obviously gets the Spec 2 victory. And it was kind of what we expected. You're going to have some big draft packs, and it made for some very interesting and very strategic battles on the track.
Absolutely. Once the race started, I kind of fell back to P6, and I was like, okay, I'm still at front in Spec 2. I don't care. Just let everybody go. As long as I can stay with the lead pack, I was extremely happy. A few people pitted early. Poor Joshua had to see me do a massive Tokyo drift going around the penultimate corner there, and we both go into the pits, and he leaves like 2 seconds faster than me, and I'm thinking I just completely overfueled the car, and poor Joshua just underfueled the car, and kind of had to give some positions back towards the end, and it was very interesting. I think a lot of people ended up underfueling because I really shouldn't have finished in second, but I'll be more than happy to take it.
There you go. Sometimes, as we've seen with Jason Green, who won the race today just on pace, but he's had a couple of victories that was just, might as well just say pure luck, because that's what it was. So sometimes the luck, sometimes you have to take a little withdrawal from the luck bank in order to get where you think you should be. So We've got one more race left in the season. I think that's Phoenix Road Course, if I remember correctly. We were there a couple of weeks ago with the Formula Fords, and so now we're going to get a turn around with the Spec Racers. So what are you thinking about that race?
I think Phoenix was last week for us, and it's Schlob. Don't even ask me to pronounce.
Oh, no, you're right.
You're
absolutely right. Sorry about that. I've got my Weekend Warriors schedules mixed up. You're absolutely right. It's also Flavin next week.
I see where your priorities lay. That's okay. It's just us. It's just us Spec Racer guys. According to the schedule, we did. Yeah, we did Phoenix last week, so it's going to be interesting. I'm going to have to try to get as much practice. I don't know if I've ever turned a lap there, so it's going to be a very interesting race. Hopefully, I can get it figured out and try to stay with these front guys. It's very difficult, and I'm very happy with the draft abilities of this car to be able to hang with these guys up front because they are just insanely fast. And big congrats to Jason on his victory. That was an amazing pace that he just put on.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Eric, we'll let you go and celebrate your class victory and your overall podium, but we'll let you give any thanks or shout outs that you want to before we let you get out of here.
Absolutely. Big thanks again to Cloud Valve and Jen, if you're watching. Hi, sweetie. Talk to you guys later.
All right, thanks, Eric.
And that right there was Eric Luke, your Spec 2 winner at the end of this race, and your P2 finisher at the end of this race as well. There have been many occasions in which he's won Spec 2 this year, but has not been able to win the race overall. Who knows, maybe next season we'll see him back that car into victory lane overall. But Charles, we're going to break out the usual flow. I think I'm going to let you have a chance to have a chat with our SMB boss man, Mr. Joshua Wilkie, who had a rather wild race here at Silverstone today.
Yeah, let's bring Josh in. That way, see, Josh, Ron has let me do the interview because he doesn't want to get fired. So I personally, I'd like the job, but I don't really care. So I'm going to give you a hard time. What were you thinking?
Sure.
You underfueled the car, Josh. You were up there leading the race, and you underfueled the car.
I know. I could have had my first podium today. Probably actually just wanted to come in here and whine for us. There's a couple of us, I think, there who underfueled. So Kabanka, too, he was just ripping out there today. And unfortunately, I think I saw him underfuel, too. So, yeah, I'll never be trusting Race Labs to do my fuel calculation ever again. It's been getting it wrong pretty much every time. I just kind of let it do it. And, I came out of the pit and I looked over and it said I had about 8.5 laps of fuel with 10 minutes left. And I'm like, that's not going to work. So I tried to fuel save as hard as I could. I lost a bunch of time trying to do so. So there's no win in the books after that. And then that was just it. Basically, I tried to kind of cleanly let everybody by, and that was it. That was it, unfortunately. But, I'm going to bank that, I was up in the front today for a while, and I led for a bit too, and that's the first for me. So, I like to be out there. Now I know what it feels like. I know how to hold that position for a while, and I'm just going to keep that in the bank. And great racing from everybody around me too. That was a blast.
Yeah, I'm going to give you some positive feedback and then a little critical feedback. But no, obviously you had some really good pace. It looked like you were really comfortable in the car, especially in the draft pack, which is part of it. You have to be that way, and you showed some good pace. I think you made the one mistake other than the fueling. I think the one mistake I saw was a little battle with Naselli through a corner, and I think that kind of let Christian get away from you just a little bit. So other than that, though, you ran a really good race until the end. But it's we're not here to be we're only critical of you because we know you and we work with you and we care about you.
Oh, I enjoy it.
Otherwise, if you're just a normal driver, we wouldn't be saying stuff like this. So
hey, I appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate it for sure. And I kind of apologize there for Christian too. I was just kind of trying to make a decision as to what he wanted to do there. He made a little mistake in front of me, and I'm like, I'm gonna try to stay behind him. And then he made another little mistake, and I'm like, okay, I can't hit the brake. And I just went up the inside, hoping to kind of just keep momentum. And yeah, so I mean, he just made a mistake in front of me. That was all. And I just kind of questioned what it is I'm supposed to do. Got to give a big shout out to Ozbek there as well for just really good heads up driving and stuff today, noticing stuff like that, not trying to come up the outside or inside of us during that whole little mess up where I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do. And it was just great driving out there today. And cool to have the pace up front. Felt really good finally in the draft pack, and get some experience up there. So good stuff.
There you go. So one race left in the season, and so how you feeling about that? You feel like now you've got a little confidence in the car, and in your ability to get the car back up to the front again next week?
Yeah, I think so. I'm kind of brain farting on what track it was next week.
Well, there seems to be some controversy about that, to be fair. So.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. Okay, yeah. So, I mean, we'll see what it is. And yeah, definitely, though, like overall, yes. I feel like, the SRF's probably my most comfortable car on the service now. I used to think I was faster in the FF, but, some people have kind of shown me, nope, that's not the case. I'm a little faster over here, I think. So, it goes back and forth sometimes. And I'm just stoked on having some pace in it. So thanks a lot, guys.
Yep, there you go. We'll let you give a thanks or a shout out, and before we let you go, we'll treat you like a regular driver for a minute.
Yeah, obviously, massive thanks to you guys and Guido producing back there. We get to a bunch of props for the cameras and everything you do in the behind the scenes, and Stevie, obviously, for putting it all on here, and Michelle and Jim Brewster and all the admins in the background and league admins and stuff like that. We can't do this without you and everybody here at SMB and the drivers out there. Love you all. It's a dream come true, man. Thanks so much, guys.
All right, Josh, take care. We'll see you in a bit.
Later.
And that right there was Mr. Joshua Wilkie, Mr. SMB himself. And as we're chatting with some very important figures here in the Ray Esports world, let's have a chat with the boss man himself, Mr. Stevie Ray, now joining us in the commentary booth, a sound effect that describes 98% of my life. Stevie, welcome to the booth. I'm going to ask you a little bit about the race. We only saw you with a spin, so maybe I'll ask you just faintly to describe this track and car combination.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Easy to get the 1Xs, and by 11 laps in, I think I had 11 Xs, so I made my pit stop, and I came out, and that spin you saw put me over, and that was my walk of shame through the pit lane, and after that, it was just kind of hot lapping, so it's good fun. It's wide, and it'll suck you into some of the corners where they shut down to one lane. So, all in all, I kind of like Silverstone. I was fortunate to at least visit there a couple of times when I was overseas, but it's a lot of fun. Good track.
Yeah, it is a super fun racetrack. We had a barn burner of a race here today with the Spec race before it's had a pretty good race here with the FFs a couple of weeks ago, and it's just been part of an absolutely amazing season here from the Weekend Warriors as per usual, and just a great season overall here from the Ray Esports side of things. Wrapped up the other Ray Esports Club Racing League at the start of April. Still have one more week left to go here from the Weekend Warriors side of things for the FVs, FFs, and Spec Racer Fords.
Yep.
Great year, great season up to this point.
It has been. It's always kind of sad to come to the end of a season like that, but kind of excited too. I'm probably not going to be able to be here next week, so this is my get in here and thank everybody for the season. I say it every season, and I truly mean it. I mean, these leagues, that racing doesn't happen without the guys showing up and making the league what it is. They take it serious. They do their best every week. Incidents happen. It gets interesting at times. We'll say it like that. But people take a breath afterwards and settle down. And everybody knows that everybody's giving it their all. And that's all you can ask. And I couldn't ask for a better group of people to be associated with.
And I think I've said this many, many times on the air with these Weekend Warrior shows and with the Ray Esports shows. I absolutely, I don't take it for granted being the commentator, one of the commentators for these absolutely fantastic races week in and week out. The community that you've been able to build over the past couple of years, Stevie, is absolutely amazing, and I do not take it for granted to be a part of this wonderful community of racers looking to have some fun. And speaking of having some fun, I teased it a little bit earlier on in the show, saying you had some
good.
The 45th V runoffs this upcoming, well, not this upcoming week, the week after, to round off this season of iRacing. Want to spill the beans and let us know?
Yeah, we'll do. Yeah, I've been teasing it for the last week as well. It finally came up and decided what I was going to do with it. If you know anything about SCCA, in June they have the June sprints at Road America, and it is second only to their national runoffs at the end of the year. Many times the June sprints is actually bigger than the runoffs, especially when the runoffs are going to be at the same track later. So you get all the best of the best showing up. It's actually going to be next week in the real world at Road America. And then we're going to follow it up in week 13 the following week and do our V runoffs June sprints at Road America. Some history there. It's a great track. We can put 60 cars on there real easy. So everybody pass the word along to your friends and frenemies. Open to non-league members. You don't have to be a member of the Weekend Warriors. Come join us. It's all about fun. Have a race for the Vs, for a separate one for the Formula Fords, separate one for the SRFs. And the only kink in it this season is going to be exactly that, the kink. I have bounced back and forth whether we wanted to go with the bend configuration, which kind of eliminates the kink and that danger, or do we stick with the traditional kink and the culture and the historic stuff that brings with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a line in the registration form and let you vote on it. And we're going to see what the community wants, the bend configuration or the kink. And you won't know until the session opens.
Or what you could do is the drivers that votes to have the chicane right before the kink, they have to run that lad exclusively during the race, and everyone else can run the track usually. I'm not sure if that would be the safest thing in the world.
The kink always provides some excitement, and if you get off, it throws people across the track and can cause some big wrecks, and this kind of is supposed to eliminate that, but you've got a hard braking zone and a zigzag for that, so it could be just as bad, but it's something a little bit different for the V runoffs, but we'll see what the community wants to do.
And honestly, I absolutely adore Road America. At some point, I do want to go up there just to enjoy the nice cheese and enjoy the nice racing there. But Road America, an absolutely fantastic track. And with these cars, with the, I believe the FFs ran here a couple of seasons ago, and I remember that race being really good. And the FVs and the Spec Race Fords, obviously draft-heavy cars. So quick racetrack, draft-heavy cars, that's going to be super fun.
Yeah, the Vs being the draft monsters they are. I think if you look at Brian and Dan Stasinski's pages and stuff on YouTube or NRV stuff, they've posted some of the real world videos and YouTubes of the Formula Vs at Road America. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
And I'm certainly going to be looking forward to that, and you will be able to catch the action here on Slow Motion Broadcasting come time for that race in just 2 weeks' time. And to be specific, that will be on June the 15th. We'll get the times and everything all rocking and rolling, so you can hit the notification bell on that stream and hit the notification bell here on SMB, so you never miss out on any of the racing action. But Stevie, I'll let you give the thanks and shouts out before we let you go, and maybe get some seat time for that Road America runoff race in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I hope so. Said I got family next week, so I'm not going to be able to run the league. So my next one will be the V runoff. So looking forward to it. But thank you guys for all you do every week. I know the prep and everything that goes into these. I really appreciate you. Again, the Weekend Warriors themselves, it can't be done without those guys on track every week. One guy doesn't make all this happen and give the league the reputation it has. And of course, our sponsors making the broadcast possible. Alliance Autosport, great people. If you want to get on track with some SRFs or something, give those guys a shout, because they will take awesome care of you, get you set up, get your license, or if you got one, take top-notch care of you and put you on track. Then we've got Almeida for the Formula Fords. I mean, who can say how great that is to have him with us this season with the Formula Fords? And then the Vs, the community themselves. I mean, you can't top that. So thanks to all of our sponsors. Eric Luke did as part of the season with the SRFs as well, and has already committed, said he would help us out next season for whatever we need. So awesome. Appreciate that. The last plug I got is Tuesday night for the racing line. We're going to have Jason Greider, JG1, on with us, so tune in for that. And with that, I'll let you guys have it. We've ran really long, and I'll get out of here, but thank you very much.
And thank you again as well, Stevie, for everything that you do behind the scenes. Really, if it wasn't for this Weekend Warriors series and the community behind it, I'm not really sure where I would be as a commentator. I probably wouldn't even have socks in the present moment. But hey, Stevie, thanks again as always. Thank you for joining us, and looking forward to those V runoffs here in a couple of weeks.
All right. Thanks, Ron. Thanks, Charles. Thanks, Guido.
Sure.
Appreciate all of you.
And thank you as well. That right there was series admin Stevie Ray. Charles, it's a little bit hard to top that, but we've got Usher Slavin for the final race of the Spec Racer Ford Weekend Warriors season in 1 week's time. I mentioned when I was having that chat with Jason that it's not the most flashy racetrack in the world, so these drivers are going to have to bring the thunder, bring the excitement, and bring the drama with some championship battles to boot.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. It's a pretty technical track, to be fair. We've ran there a few times. Luckily, because Spec Racers they're not rain enabled yet, as far as I know. We won't have to worry about that, but that makes that a whole different track. But yeah, Australia's going to be a fun race. And I, obviously you just said where we were going to be, but I was going to say, hey, you know what? I know where we're going to be next week. We're going to be on YouTube on the Slow Motion Broadcasting channel. That's where we're going to be next week.
Oh, that we certainly will be. You'll be able to catch all of the action here with the Weekend Warriors exclusively on Slow Motion Broadcasting. And we've got action to look forward to, maybe coming up to every single day here in the not too far off future. Hey, that gives you a good reason to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on any of the racing action here on SMB. But I think as for this broadcast tonight, for the second to last round of the Spec Racer Ford Weekend Warriors here at Silverstone, that will just about do it. So for myself, Ron Maunz, Charles Boshell joining me in the commentary booth, and Guido Marzucchi doing a wonderful job working on the cameras and the graphics and the virtual production hauler. I say thank you also very much for watching this broadcast here on Slow Motion Broadcasting today, and we hope to see you all wherever it is in the not too distant future.